yourself, whether you need to, as we start on our backs here, if you need to stretch your legs out long, do. If you like to bend your knees and put your feet on the floor because that feels better, do. So at home, we need straps today. If you're taking class at home, make sure you have a strap handy. And just to enjoy, feel the ground underneath you, watch your breath. If it helps you to put your hands on your belly or up by your ribs a little bit or even higher just to feel the breath physically moving the body, you can. Accepting those full deep breaths in and out. Let your eyes soften, your face soften. Feel your shoulders and your hips really releasing. And now on your next exhale, draw your right knee in towards your chest, extending your left leg down long on the floor. You can hold behind your thigh, you can hold below your knee there on your shin. Feel your leg gently coming into your hands. And then we're going to switch. So bringing that left knee in and then extending your right leg long. And again, just holding where it feels comfortable for you. Feel your leg gently pressing into your hands. Good, and then bring your right knee on in so both knees are in there towards the chest and let your knees come from side to side. Just as far over as you want to go. Just letting yourself feel like you're massaging your low back, your upper hips there. Good, and then let your feet come onto the floor and let's get our strap. And we're going to bring the strap onto the right foot. And usually, we bring it across the ball of the foot just for a little bit different feel. Let it come across the arch of your foot, okay? But still feeling, that you're flexing your foot and really pressing gently into the ball of the foot a little bit. And then as you keep the right knee a little bent, extend your left leg down long on the floor. Remember, you can let the leg come as far away from you as you need. Don't force anything. Just let the back of the leg gently open up. And you can come straighter leg if you want. You can draw the leg in closer to you if you choose to. So let yourself feel that back of the leg opening up. We're going to move a little bit now, so bringing the straps into the right hand, let the leg open out to the right. We're just going to stay there for a breath, keeping grounded through the left side. And then we're going to come back up to the top with the leg, switch hands on your strap and go the other way towards your twist. You don't have to go all the way, you know that. And you can gradually let yourself come over. One more breath there. And then come back up to the top with the leg, and we're going to switch again, right hand on the strap and open it again to the right. So you're finding that outward hip rotation. We're going to do this a couple more times. So come on back up to the top with the leg, switch hands again and let it come across. Waking up the leg and the hip. And then again, coming on back up to the top, switch hands and go on over to the right. And then we'll come on back up to the top and we'll come on over towards that twist. Now stay for a couple more breaths here, only as far as you want to go into the twist. and then come on back up to the top with that leg. And we're going to put our left foot on up there in the strap, put our right foot down on the floor, get your strap situated across the arch of your foot there, and then go ahead and extend your right leg down long. Again, you can let the left leg come farther away from you, you can come straighter in the leg, or you can keep the knee a little bent. That just depends on you. Not forcing it really, just allowing the back of the leg to gently open up. Good, and now we'll start that moving a little bit. So left hand is going to draw the strap over to the left side, coming into that outward hip rotation. And then we'll come on back up to the top with the leg, switch hands on the strap, and go over the other way. So again, it doesn't matter how far you go. Just let yourself just stay for a little breath there. And then come back up to the top and switch again. Left hand takes over to bring you over to the left. Remember, this leg can be down farther away from your torso. Sometimes just changing that makes a huge difference. Come on back up to the top again. And switch hands and go on over to the right again with the leg. And then come on back up to the top. And again, we're going to go over to the left. And come back to the top again and switch. And we're going to stay in this twist for a couple more breaths. So again, it doesn't matter how far you go. Up to you. Let yourself release there. Take a couple of breaths. And then we'll come on back up with the leg up top again. And let's bend that knee. Take our strap on off. Put it on to the side beside you there. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. If you want to curl up into a little ball, you can draw your face in towards your knees if that feels good to you. That's totally up to you. And then bring your head and your feet back down to the floor. Reach your right arm overhead long here now. And then stretch your right leg long on the floor. And really just extend through that side of your body a little bit. So let the palm of the right hand face the midline. And let yourself reach out through your fingertips. Press into your heel. And then just lower that right arm down, bend the right knee. We're going to go to the other side. So just finding a full side stretch in that left side, really letting yourself press into the heel and reaching up through the fingertips. And then bring the left arm down, bring the left foot back to the floor, and do a couple of little pelvic tilts now, just letting yourself as you exhale. Feel the tailbone curling up, feel the low back release towards the ground. And then finish off, find your neutral spine, bring your arms down alongside your body, and bend your elbows to 90 degrees like you're a robot there, and press into the backs of the arms, rise up into a little bridge pose, press into your feet, feel your quads engaging, and as you exhale, let yourself come back down out of the bridge. So we're going to inhale, pressing into the backs of the arms, reaching up into bridge pose, pressing into our feet. Lift your heels up a little bit this time. And then put your heels back down and let yourself lower back down to the floor. And then one more time, inhaling, pressing into the arms, rising up into bridge. If you can roll your shoulders under a little bit more, do. Feel the feet in the floor again, and if that lifting of the heels up really helps you find a little bit more in your bridge, do. Good, and then we're going to lower the heels down if they're up and lower the hips on down to the floor. Bring your knees into your chest and open the knees out to the side in towards a little Badakanasana. You don't have to touch your feet together. You can just hold your ankles if you'd rather. Let yourself release through the inner thighs there. Be comfortable. Let your low back release. Good. And then we'll bring the knees on back in to center and come on down with your feet. To sit up, it is up to you how you want to do that. If you want to roll backwards and up, or if you want to roll to your side and up, take your time so that when you do come up, you can sit up nice and tall. However you want to get your legs arranged, right? You can sit cross-legged, or, you know, if you'd like to come into a little bit of a stacking of your legs. I mean, some of you might want to do a half lotus pose. Really depends on how your knees and your hips feel, so get really easy in your hips there. And then come a little bit forward as you exhale, and come on back up when you inhale. So just a little bit of easy movement, keeping that length of the spine, and probably your back feels pretty alive right now from starting on the ground. Let yourself be aware of keeping your head in line with your spine, that nice rocking motion. And good. So one more, forward and then back up. Remember which leg you have in front. And from here, we're going to swing our legs. I'm going to mirror you over to your left. And kind of just let this top leg rest in the instep of the bottom foot, right? And from here, we're going to come on down onto our forearm. And then we're just going to reach into a nice long arm here. Nice long side stretch. Let yourself enjoy reaching with the palm facing down of that left hand. And enjoy. And then bend your elbow, put your hand behind your head, press your head a little into your hands, maybe even turn to look up a little bit towards the ceiling as you press into the hand a little bit with your head. If that hurts you, don't do it. And then look back forward again. And we're going to rise on, back up. Now remember which way you were crossed, because we're going to cross the other leg in front or on top, right? And then we're going to ease our way again into those rocking forward and back motions. Flexing through the feet. Feeling the outside edges of your feet pressing down into whatever surface they're on. Let it feel really good. Moving with your breath. Next time that we come up, we're going to stay up. We're going to swing our legs this time over to our right side. So again, that right leg is kind of in the instep of your bottom foot there. And then come on down to your forearm. Get kind of comfortable in how you are so that when you rise that arm up and then lower it down towards your head, it feels really good to reach out through the fingertips. Breathing into that side. Try not to drop into your shoulder there, but press into the forearm, into the elbow, so you have space there from the shoulder to the ear. And then if you can bend your elbow and put your hand behind your head, do. And again, if you can, turn to look up, just kind of press the back of your head in your hand, do. Nice, one more breath. And then we're going to rise back up. So take your time. Use your belly a little bit to get yourself on back. And let's bring our legs on around in front of us. Stretch them out to the side just for a second. And let yourself come a little forward to feel your inner thighs. Doesn't matter whether you want to reach hands to the floor or to your feet. Maybe you prefer just to come a little bit forward. Maybe it feels good to go a little deeper. Just opening up through the inner thighs. Good. And from here, we're going to rise ourselves on back up, bring our hands behind us, and bring our chest forward and up a little bit, opening through the front body. Be mindful of your neck. If you like to look up, do. If it feels better to keep your gaze forward, do. And then we'll release to come back up. And go ahead and bring your legs together, shake them out a little bit. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So as you come on around, take your time to get comfortable. If you need a blanket underneath your knees or your hands, use it. You can let yourself get the knees right underneath the hips and kind of shift your hips around a little bit. Let your head respond. And then go ahead and get the neutral spine as you look down between your hands and look at your hands. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Feel each finger into the floor and your thumbs, and think about your pointer fingers being parallel as your inner elbows face each other. And on your next exhale, come on into your cat pose. And it doesn't have to be extreme. You know, maybe you like to start with a little bit smaller cat pose, right? And on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up. Move your way back through into your cow pose. And then on your next exhale, start to flow back into your cat. And now you're on your own. So if you feel like stopping in cat or cow, if you feel like continually moving, just take your time. Let it feel good. Moving through the back here. Feeling your head as a part of your spine. So it's like you flow from the tailbone up the spine. The head's the last thing that you kind of bring into line in the pose you're going into. We'll finish off the one we're on so that you have time to come completely into that pose you're moving into. And then we'll come on back into neutral spine. Let's rise our right arm up and look over to the right. You can rise the hand up towards the ceiling as high as you want to go. And on the exhale, thread the needle, bring that arm on through. Come on down to the right side of your head. And you can stretch your left arm all the way towards the front of the mat if you want. You can stretch, or you can keep the elbow bent, or whichever works. Sometimes I like to keep the left hand in front of my face and press into it and twist a little bit more, really looking up towards the ceiling a little bit. Sometimes that feels good to me, rather than reaching long arm, or a little bit of both. We're going to come back to bring the left hand by our face, press our way on up, and we're going to go to the other side. So letting yourself reach up now with that left arm and stretching up towards the ceiling. Really, if you can, don't do it to hurt your shoulder. And then we'll thread that needle and bring the arm on through. And again, as you come down, it is totally up to you. You know, you can put your right hand there in front of your face, push into the floor a little bit and add a little bit more. That's totally not for everybody, I know that. But if it feels good, you can try it. Or you can reach your right arm overhead towards the front edge of your mat there. Or like I said, a bit of both. You know, you can try a little bit of each. Waking up the shoulder. Ooh. And then finish off. Bring your hand back by your face. Press your way on up from here. Bring your hands on out. We're going to curl our toes under and come into downward facing dog pose. So take your time. Kind of walk a little bit. And when you walk your dog, see if you can let your feet come a little closer together to where they actually touch. So you're walking there. And then you're walking them apart again. And you're going to walk all the way towards the outer edge of your mat as you keep bending one knee at a time. Let yourself then, once you get there, you just come back in again with the feet. And come back in to find your full dog so your feet are about hips distance apart. So finding your full dog, elbows hugging towards each other, reaching back equally through your sitting bones. Let yourself enjoy coming into dog. And then from here, we're going to lower our knees on down, and we'll bring our left foot forward. We're going to come into lunge. So take your time as you come into your lunge. Be mindful. Let yourself find that lunge, the length of lunge that you need to do. Using the blocks, whatever height feels really good for you in your lunge. Pressing the feet gently away from each other. And then straighten the front leg out and see if you can let that right heel descend towards the mat. Lift your left toes up a little bit. Make sure you're not rolling on that foot. Feel the arch lifting up, the big toe mound and the little toe mound into the ground of that foot. And then bend your left knee again. Press your feet gently away from each other. And we're going to switch our legs. So however you want to do that, coming to the other side. And setting up there in your lunge. Feeling the back of that right leg, letting yourself imagine the left leg, feeling the inner left thigh reaching up towards the ceiling, and think of the inner right thigh dropping down towards the ground. And then straightening that front leg out, lifting the right toes up, and you can look at your right foot and tell if you're rolling to the outside edge of it, right? Think of the big toe mound, the little toe mound into the ground. Opening up the backs of both legs really here now. Good, and then let your toes come down. Go ahead and bend that front knee. Come on back into your full lunge. And let's step forward from here and come on into our standing forward bend. So take your time, adjust however you need to. If you like to, wiggle around a little bit, shift your hips or walk through a little bit into your Uttanasana do. And then just watch your breath. Once you kind of settle in, be with your breath, watching your breath coming in and going out. Feeling the weight of your head. Imagine you're relaxing your teeth and your tongue. And from here we will bring our hands on up to our hips, and we're going to press into our feet and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. From here, let's unfold our arms on down. Look at your feet for a second. Really make sure your feet are just the way you want them for your mountain pose. Good, and then float your arms on out into a T position, straight out from your shoulders. Palms are facing down. Feel the weight of your arms for a second. And then slowly rotate your palms up and feel how that feels. Start to feel those muscles wrapping around forward underneath your arms. So that as the arms float up into a wide V, it feels so easy. Shoulders don't really feel involved. It is this action under here that brings the arms up, not tensing at the tops of your shoulders, right? So enjoy that. One more breath. If you like to look up, mountain with arms overhead, you can. And on your exhale, bend your knees and fold forward from the hips into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. And we'll exhale the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhaling into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide. Hug your elbows towards each other. If you like to walk in your dog, by all means do. Find a release for your neck. If turning your head a little bit helps do that. Good. And on the next inhale, we're going to come on out towards a plank. A nice strong plank. Pressing into the hands equally. Bend your elbows just a tiny little bit and stay there for a breath. And then we're going to lower down. So if you want to put your knees down first, do. Elbows right by the ribs. Let's come on into Sphinx with our elbows under our shoulders and our forearms parallel. Let your fingers spread nice and wide and just feel that ease of coming into the front of the body here. And make sure that the belly's just a little engaged. You don't feel anything untoward in your low back. Good. We're going to lower back down. Bring your hands by your chest. Bend your knees and flex your feet. Pull your heels in towards your buttocks. Feel your thighs a little bit there. Good. And then release your feet back to the floor. We're going to press up either through a full or a half push-up. And then come on back into downward facing dog pose. And from here, we'll bring our right foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend with our feet right underneath us. Go right to your breath and be mindful of whatever you need to use for support, right? So if you need to put your elbows above your knees or hands on the blocks, just really be mindful of how you feel in the backs of your legs. You don't want to feel any kind of discomfort up where your sit bones are, where your hamstrings attach. Just let the legs gently, and just from your body being forward like that, just gently release deeper and deeper. Good. And now bring your hands in front of you, whether it's on a block or the floor. Bend your knees a little bit. Press your feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat wider. And then walk your hands over to the right, sort of to the outside of the right foot. Stay there just for a breath. Keep the feet equal in the floor. And then come on back through center and we'll go to the left. So kind of over towards the outside of your left foot. Keep pressing the feet away from each other. And then release to come on back into center again. From here, let's bring our hands to our hips, press into our feet, rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms on down beside us, clasp our hands behind us, and as you inhale, let the hands come away from the back a little bit. And as you exhale, let them come back down. So inhaling, letting the hands come off the back if you can. Don't force it if it hurts your shoulders, don't do it. And then bring the hands back down. Keep the hands down this time. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Now you can stay parallel to the floor. You can, if you want to, keep folding over your legs, do. And you can, if you want, release your arms off your back. Totally optional. Don't need to do that at all. One more breath. And then we'll release our arms on down. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. And this time, left foot steps back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Good. Let your next inhale carry you out to that plank. Nice and strong. Now to lower down. Again, bend your elbows at first just a tiny little bit and stop. And then decide, well, can I go all the way down really slowly and get to the floor, or do I need to put my knees down in order to have just a little bit less to come down? And we're going to come into a little cobra. You can float up, float your hands up for a second, and let yourself circle your hands around a little bit as fists. Make loose fists. Circle your hands a little bit with the fists. Good, and then come on back down with your hands. If you want to keep pressing up higher into Cobra, you can. Not necessary to do that. Elbows hug in. You can stay low. You know that. And then from here, we're going to come all the way on back down. We're going to shift back towards pose of a child. So letting yourself shift hips back towards the heels, but of course only go as far as you can. If you can bend your elbows and put your hands on your upper back with your elbows on the floor, if that feels good for your triceps to stretch out like that, do. If not, don't. Keep your arms where you need. Breathe into your low back. Feel the breath expanding the low back when you inhale. And then we'll extend our arms back, long overhead, come on up to all fours, curl our toes under, and come on back into down dog. And this time we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come back into our standing forward bend. Feet right underneath us. You know, get comfortable. If you like to slip your hands under your feet or your toes, or if you like to hold your elbows, or maybe you want to clasp your hands, rest them at the back of your head. Or maybe you want to put your hands up on your back. You know, just experiment a little bit. Be mindful. You know, if you need support to keep your back long, use it. And watch those breaths. All the way in and all the way out. From here, we're going to bring our hands right on up to our hips. As we bend our knees, we'll rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, come into your mountain pose here now. Let yourself find that balance between your feet, between the front and the back of your feet, as well as right to left side. And now really feel your hands together, very lightly connecting your hands. So it's a very light touch, but you definitely feel that connection. Each finger, your thumbs, whatever part of your palms are connected there. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us. And inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let your exhale carry you forward. On your next inhale, find a nice long back. Exhale, right foot back into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank, and let your exhale lower you however you need. Inhale into your cobra of choice, and exhale back to down dog. Inhale, exhale right foot forward to lunge, and inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top with the breath, and letting your exhale bring you forward again. Inhale into that long back, and exhale left foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into down dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale, exhale left foot forward to lunge. And inhale, exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, floating all the way up to the top. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale, nice long back. We're going to come to down dog however you want to get there. You can jump, you can walk. Take your time, get back into your dog. Really find your dog moving however you need. And come to your breaths. Really watch your breaths coming in and going out. Good. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. And we're coming out for warrior one. Have your blocks handy here by the front of your mat. Bring yourself on up into squaring your shoulders, aligning that front knee, feeling fine in the way you have the back foot aligned as well. And then just float your arms just a breath away from you. Turn your palms forward. Let yourself feel just as open as you can across your chest. Really easy in the shoulders here, reaching down through the fingertips. And we're going to inhale the arms higher and higher up into a wide V. So once you feel into that V where it feels perfect for you, let yourself stay there. Bring the gaze up just a little bit. Feel that lift right at the base of the shoulder blades. No compression in your low back. And then from there, bend your elbows. Bring your hands to clasp right at the back of your head. Press the back of your head gently into your hands. Let that feel really good. So now your belly's engaged. You're feeling the head pressing into your hands, but you don't feel any kind of discomfort in your back. And then see about extending your arms up and send that pointer finger out, coming into your warrior one mudra, if possible. If you need to separate your hands instead, do. And nice full breaths here. Imagine inhaling up the front of the body, over the top, and exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then as you look forward, release your arms on out beside you and bring your hands just down for palms to face inward towards each other and straighten your front leg out. Start to reach your arms back behind you and see how your chest kind of leads. Come on forward into pyramid pose. So take your time. If you can stay up for a second without putting your hands down, do. You don't have to go low to do that. You can stay up higher. Imagine drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. And then go ahead and release your hands down to whatever surface you like, the floor or the blocks, any height. And once you get your hands down, maybe you need to adjust your feet or the stance a little bit, do. You can get longer, you can get shorter. Feel your thighs lifting up towards the hips. Stay with a long back here. And then from here, we're going to bring our left hand to our left hip, and we're going to roll that shoulder up, palm down on your sacrum. Stay there for a breath or two just to lengthen out through the top of your head. Try not to drop into this right side. You're trying to stay level here. And then if you want to add the top arm up, you can add that left arm straight up from your shoulder. Revolve triangle. And then we're going to release. Hand back down if it was up. And then all the way down to your block. And now, or floor. And now if you want to fold forward, you can. If you want to fold over that front leg, letting yourself bow over it, or maybe you want to put your hands down and turn your fingertips back towards the back edge of your mat. That puts the shoulders in an easier position sometimes. But just experiment. Stay where you can. Keep it back long if you don't like that folding. One more breath. And then come on back up. We're going to bend the front knee and we're going to lower the back knee to the floor from a lunge. So if you need a blanket, grab a blanket. Otherwise, bringing the knee on down. And at first, let yourself kind of have don't go too deeply forward. Use your blocks, kind of let yourself stay back a little bit, just to adjust there. And then just gradually send your left toes farther forward a little bit. Kind of inch your toes forward. And then go ahead and start to bend that front knee. And press into the top of the right foot there, right? So you might have just a little bit, this foot a little bit farther forward than you usually do. And now it's up to you. You can stay with your hands on the blocks. You can lift your hands up and put your hands on your thigh if you want to. I know some of you will want to bring your hands to your heart or bring an arm or both arms overhead. So if that feels good, you can. If not, don't do it. One more breath there. And then we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to walk our hands to the inside of that left foot. Turn your toes out a little bit. And now, if you really want to come down either to blocks or the floor, go for it. Letting yourself just come a little bit deeper. And you know, this is totally optional. Use blocks if you need. Let that foot turn out slightly so you're comfortable in your hip there. Finding a really deep stretch in the front of your right hip there, in the front of your thigh. You know, and I know some of you like to kind of roll to the outer edge of that left foot. Just be really mindful if you're doing that. It can get really deep in your inner left thigh there. Good, so one more breath. And then come on back up enough. We are only going to just shift our hips back, bring that left knee underneath us again. And just move your blocks, bring your hands to the floor in front of you, shift back into pose of a child. Let yourself take a breath there. And then we'll come on up to all fours and make our way back to downward facing dog pose. So from here, if you'd like to do a vinyasa or kriya, you can come out to plank. You can move into a back bend. You don't need to. You don't have to do these at all. You can go through chaturanga and come down to the floor and then up into your back bend. Rather than doing the kriya, you know, you can do a vinyasa. So, or nothing at all. Put your knees down. If you need to rest, rest. Good. And then finish off the one you're on. We're going to meet back in down dog. And we'll bring our right foot forward, and we're coming up for that warrior one again. So remember, as you start to adjust your stance, whether you need it to be a little longer or less long, or a little less wide or more wide, just be mindful of that front knee. Take your time. Really get comfortable in the angle of that back leg. And then release your arms out beside you. Turn your palms forward and really reach down through the fingertips. So you feel totally released here in the sides of the neck and the tops of your shoulders, right? Feels very easy. And then from there, as you start to float the arms up, same thing. It's really those arms that show muscles that wrap around under your arms that are bringing those arms up, not the tops of your shoulders. You can bring your gaze up if you choose to. Feel that lift at the base of the shoulder blades. Feel that lift of the belly and the release down the left top buttock muscle there. And then clasp your hands again behind your head. Press gently into your hands with your head. Feel like you're holding the weight of your head in your hands, which is actually a lot. One more breath. Now this keeping the hands together and extending up with the pointer finger is totally up to you. You can separate your hands if that's better for your shoulders. Again, inhaling up the front of the body, over the top, and exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then as you bring your gaze forward, release your arms on down beside you, straightening that front knee out. Remember, hands are going to face palms inward. Spread your fingers really wide. If you have to adjust your stance a little, do. And then send the hands back, which kind of leads you with your chest forward into your pyramid. Thighs are lifting up. You do not have to go far. You can go parallel to the floor, or you can be up higher. Reach back through the fingertips more and more and more and more and more. Release your hands on down to whatever you want to use for support. And then once you get there, if you need to adjust your stance somewhat, do. Keep your back long. Remember, we're going to add that revolved triangle right here. So you're grounded through your feet. Your right hand is going to come to your hip. You're going to roll that shoulder up and put your hand flat, palm down on your sacrum. Find that flatness there. And now if you want to add the arm up, you can. You don't have to. That is totally up to you. Let yourself keep those thighs lifting up towards the hips. If your hand was up, go ahead and bring your arm back down so your hand's back on your sacrum. Lengthen out through the top of your head. Good, and then bring the right hand on back down. We're going to bend the front knee, find that lunge, and we're going to put the back knee down on the ground or a blanket if you need. Now remember, once you do that, if you can, kind of shift your hips back a little bit and let your right toes kind of inch your foot a little farther forward. Once you get there, go ahead and start to bend that knee and shift your hips. So as you come now into this, if you feel like your foot's totally in the wrong place, just adjust it. Let yourself stay either hands on the blocks, or maybe you want to lift your hands up to your thigh, or maybe arm or both arms up overhead. You know, you can leave one hand down to help give you support, or you can keep both hands down, or you can have your arms both overhead. So be mindful. Let yourself open up through the front of that left hip. Good. And then let yourself release down to the hands now. Walk them to the inside of that right foot. Turn your toes out towards that right front corner of your mat. And again, this is up to you. You know, you can stack blocks up and get up higher. You can go down onto blocks any height, or you can go down onto the floor with your forearms. And again, just be really mindful in this one, because if your knee goes out and your foot rolls, the right foot rolls kind of to the outside, it's really intense in the inner thigh. So just be very mindful of it. It's okay to do it if it feels all right, but good. One more breath here. Or maybe a couple more. Oh. And now we're going to start to make our way up. We'll bring our hands to either side of that front foot so that we can lift back up into our lunge. And then from here, let's just walk around into a wide-legged forward bend, because it will feel good. So just walk your way on around, bend a knee at a time. Take your time to get yourself moving a little bit. Both knees can bend. You can take your time to find what your hips and your legs need. It doesn't matter whether you go side to side or just stay at center. Just play a little bit, in other words. Good. And then when you come back into center, be easy to set up to be with your breath. Give yourself a couple of breaths here to really even out. Feel like you're really balanced between your feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. And then try to let go through your upper body. Really letting yourself release. So the teeth and the tongue thing, the idea of trying to release your teeth and your tongue, your jaw. Good. One more full deep breath here. And then we're going to walk our hands out enough to walk back to our right foot. Come back to our lunge. And we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose from here. So again, come out for vinyasas or kriyas if you feel like it. If you don't want to do any kind of back bend, you can always stay in dog. You can come out to plank. Or you can move through vinyasas or kriyas, whatever feels good to you. Take your time. Good. One more breath there. And when you're ready, meet back in down dog. And we are going to bring our left foot forward. And we're coming up for warrior two this time. You may want your blocks handy there by the front of your mat. Line up your heels. Bring your hands to be right in front of your heart. Take your time to get aligned with that front knee. Good, and then interlace your fingers, clasp your hands, and really squeeze your palms together. Squeeze your fingers together. Feel really strong there in your hands, and you feel it up through your arms, even into your biceps. And now start to turn the palms away from the chest. Press forward with your hands, palms outward. And float the arms higher and higher and higher and higher. Now this is up to you and your shoulders. You know that, as high as you want to go. Once you get there, release your hands. Let them float on down into Warrior Two arms, looking out over the top of that left hand. Feeling so broad from fingertip to fingertip, right? You are just reaching out as far as you possibly can. Feel the feet in the floor. We're going to straighten the left knee out. We're going to reach the left hand a little bit forward and bring it down for triangle pose. So whatever you want to use for your triangle, a block, your leg, feel that right arm reaching up if you're able to, or put the hand down on the hip if you need. And then just feel that sense of thighs engaging up towards the hips and enjoy that. You can look up if you like, to turn to look up towards your hand, kind of press it forward a little bit. There's an action that happens in the shoulders sometimes that makes that doable. One more breath. And now turn to look down at your left foot. Let your neck release that way. Look at that foot. Make sure you're not rolling on it. And we're going to bring the right hand down. We're going to find lunge here. So let yourself release into your full lunge. And we're going to keep on going towards a twist, bringing either right elbow to the left knee for twisted prayer, or keeping your right hand down, bringing your left hand to your low back, or reaching your arm up. So that is up to you, whichever works for you. One more breath. And then bring your hand on back down. We're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose from here. Once you're in your down dog, walk to the tops of the toes a couple of times if you can. Press gently into the tops of the feet, kind of into your toenails, and release the feet a little bit. Good, and then come on back to your dog. Let's come out to plank, and let's do a little side plank. Now you can do the variation, right knee down, letting yourself rise that left arm, maybe even the left leg up, or you can do a full side plank if you choose. Be where you can. One more breath just to really get going here, and then bring the hand and the foot down, come back through plank, and we're going to go the other side. So again, it can be left knee down to give you a little support, or you can do your full one, coming into your side plank. And then we're going to release and come back to plank again. Let's come through for a back bend. So come to plank, and then let your hip shift down. Come through with your chest. Do a little up dog there. And then come on back into downward facing dog pose. From there, we're going to bring our right foot forward. And we're coming up for Warrior Two on the other side. So again, lining up your heels. Get really comfortable in the length of your stance. In the bend of that front knee too, so you feel okay. And then hands together, just really softly together in front of your heart. Spread your fingers out, feel that connection of your hands. And if you're able to just close your eyes briefly, do. Good, and then clasp your hands together, squeeze them. Squeeze your palms together, squeeze your fingers. Be aware of really feeling your hands and your fingers. And then start to turn the palms away from the chest. Press outward from your chest and float up the arms. Slowly, only as high as your shoulders allow. So if you can bring the hands up, halfway to overhead or maybe all the way over your head. We're going to release them once they're there and lower them down for Warrior Two arms and bring our gaze right out over the top of that right hand. So again, feeling that reach through the fingertips of both hands, letting the shoulders soften down. Feel the feet equal in the floor. And then we'll straighten the right knee out. Bring the right hand a little forward and then let it come down for your triangle. So again, you can use your leg, you can use your hand on a block, letting yourself extend the torso out over that front leg. And if you like to turn to look up, you can think about letting your gaze turn upward. Good, and now let your gaze come down towards that right foot. Again, try to make sure you're not rolling on it. And then from here, we're going to turn into that lunge, remember. Bend that front knee, bring your hands down. You can use blocks if you want. You can proceed right away to your twist, whether you bring your right hand to your low back or up overhead, or maybe you want to bring your left elbow to your right knee in a twisted prayer. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on back down, and we're going to come into down dog. Last vinyasas or kriyas. This time you're totally on your own. Do whatever you feel like doing. Stay in dog if you want. Put your knees down if you want. Move through vinyasas or kriyas if you choose to. Just really pay attention to what feels good. Nice. And then finish off. Meet back in down dog. And from your dog, bend your knees deeply. Think about your belly coming towards your thighs. And then reach back through your tailbone, through your sitting bones. Keep your head in line with your spine. Nice. We're going to jump or walk our way forward. So coming towards the front of your mat, bringing yourself feet hips distance apart and parallel. Let's let our hands come to our hips. Press into our feet and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out. And as we exhale and the hands come down, think about feeling lighter, much lighter in your head, but really lighter all the way around. Like you're just easily floating there, supported by the air all around you. So it's very effortless. Easy to be in your mountain with all that energy flowing through your body. Once you're aligned, you just stay here, watch your breath. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down beside us. Shake out just a little bit. Move around. And we're going to bring our mats to a wall. Let's do this. So, just for fun, you can stay there. Cynthia, come up in front of her. Have your mat be long way to the wall. So Kelly, you might want to go right there by the pole. And, well, actually, you don't really need a mat to do this, so just come and then you can turn your mat the other way when we do. Does your mat fit there, Lana, or do you want to come on this wall with me? You come over here with me, and that way.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. So, because we're going to work on coming into half moon from a warrior two, all right? So, that's why I'm saying you don't really necessarily need the mat underneath your feet, but there's so few of us in here today, this is doable. So, get your block handy. 2 blocks or 1, it depends on you. And we're going to step our right foot forward and our left foot back, and we're going to have our side to the wall here. All right, so you're thinking about just finding your warrior two with the wall behind you. And so the hip is on the wall, right? And how far away you are from the wall kind of depends on you. This right foot is probably at least 1 or 2 inches maybe away from the wall. Because when you're here, what you're going to think about doing, and you might have to rearrange your feet, is then coming forward and just going right into your half moon, where the wall's right there, right? So you kind of have to adjust your stance, come back to your warrior two maybe from the half moon, and then do it again. So it's that momentum of shifting from warrior two into the half moon. So if you want to practice it a couple of times rather than just staying in half moon, it's really kind of fun. You also can go from triangle. You can go from your triangle pose and then reach down and forward and onto your block, right? But just play a little bit with moving into the half moon with the wall behind you, because it is really fun. Feels like a lot easier than if you were to do it from standing in the center of a room. You can enjoy your half moon as long as you want.
I was just looking at your left cheek.
Oh, my cheek is on the wall.
Not your left one.
No,
Okay.
my standing one.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Good. So once you're kind of tired of half moon and you want to switch sides, do it. So take your time. And again, it's kind of positioning that block where you need it, positioning your feet where you feel pretty good to be in your warrior two, so that it's kind of easy to shift forward and up and into that half moon. And you can take your time. So you can stay there, and then you can go back if you want into your warrior two. Play a little bit with, again, how it feels, because it does take quite a bit of work to shift yourself forward and then come into half moon, right? Puts a lot more into that supporting leg and knee, right? But you have to use your core strength to get up and over that leg. Good. So if you want to practice a little half moon without doing all that, you're more than welcome. You can practice if you want. You can bring your blocks forward and practice with your back foot to the wall. Or maybe some of you want to just balance a little bit in your half moon, come away from the wall. So you can do that. Just play a little bit with whatever feels good in your half moon pose. And if you'd rather practice in the balance, do. If you'd rather practice just leaning against the wall, do that. All right, so one of my favorite ways to do half moon. So take your time, just play a little bit, let the hips open up. Enjoy that length through the spine. There's really nothing quite like that pose. Good. So if you haven't done both sides, make sure you do. Good. And then we're going to come on down. You can use the wall if you want to squat. So if you like to come back, I mean, you don't have to go all the way down either, but if you do like to come back so that you're supported with your back like this to the wall, you can. You can have your feet more parallel too, you know that. You can have your feet closer together. Just do what feels really good for your hips, your knees, and your back. But when the wall's back there, you know, I can't squat with my heels down unless I really turn out, but when the wall's back there, you know, you can do all kinds of fun things. Let yourself just feel a little bit different. Now the hard part about this is we have to, everybody but Kelly, we're going to have to flip our mats around. So we're down low, shouldn't be too hard. Let's come on down, turn our short edges of our mats to the wall. And then come on into heels to the wall and toes to the wall at first, and come on to your forearms once you get there. Let your toes just touch the wall. Let it be easy. Let your bottom be up in the air just for fun, so that you're just kind of letting your chest melt down and back a bit. And then actually, let's separate our hands and do forearms parallel to each other for a second. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Let your heart melt down and back. And then go ahead and curl your toes under. Lift up into that, really into your dolphin with your hands apart for a couple breaths. Let the wall support you. Let your head hang. See if you can let your head turn side to side too. And then bring your knees down. Take a little break. If you want to sit on your feet, by all means do. However, you need to take a little break there. And then when you're ready to go back up, you can do whatever you want. You can work on handstand preps. You can work, again, maybe with your hands clasped on your dolphin pose and send legs or leg up the wall, right? Or none of the above. So really be mindful. If you want to work with your heels up the wall and stay there, do. If you like to walk up the wall a little bit or put one foot up the wall, do. If anybody wants a third block, I'll be happy to bring you one. If anybody wants to do 3-block dolphin. Oh, you got one. So just be mindful. Kind of listen to your body. What do you need to do? Do you really want to do any much of an inversion? Do your shoulders really want you to stay very long? Just remember, when you're practicing that dolphin pose, you really want to try to release between the shoulder blades on your back. That's why the 3 blocks help do that. So instead of tensing up here, you're trying to release here, which brings release to the tops of the shoulders, brings you more into feeling those muscles we talk about wrapping underneath your arms and forward. Nice. And there's nothing like being upside down, is there? Good. So take your time. If you're resting and you feel like you want to go up one more time, you can. If you're ready to rest and stay resting, you can do that, and you can rest however you want. Whether you come into child's pose or maybe you'd rather have your head above your heart. If you're going up again, just take your time, go up one more time, and couple more breaths, just releasing into your breath. Feeling those nice, full, deep, even breaths. Good, and we're going to make our way on up around to sitting. So let yourself come on around and swing your legs in front of you. If you decide you'd rather sit on a blanket, do. We're going to do a little bit of Harem Pose here, right? So as you bring your right knee up, all right, I like to fold my left leg under me for Harem, but some people would rather keep their leg long. Either one is fine, right? But as you start to hold behind your thigh here now and lean back a little bit and pick your foot up, there's the ticket right there. This is where you don't want to do this, but you do want to feel that chest leading. And let the lower leg come a little more parallel to the floor. See if you can reach down and hold the inside and the outside of your foot, right at the big toe mound and little toe mound. Now, right here, you can really pull your chest forward because you've got your arms there to help you, right? And then you can decide, does it feel good to let your leg come longer or not? You don't need to. You can keep the knee bent. You certainly don't want to overstretch right there at your sitting bone. So bring the gaze up a little bit. Feel that uplift in the front of the body. Let yourself just release there into your Harem Pose. Good. Now, if you can, let your left hand come kind of to the outside of that right foot somewhere, or your ankle. It can be down lower. We're going to twist towards our right, bringing ourselves on around. You can put your right hand on the floor. You can reach it back behind you. If you're close enough to the wall, you can put your hand on the wall, which is pretty cool. I'm not quite close enough, but just let yourself enjoy coming into that twist there. Press your foot gently into your hand a little bit. Feel that outside of that right leg as you push into your hand a bit. One more breath. And then come back around to the front. Bend the knee. Put the foot on the floor. And then just bow your head. And maybe even round forward a little bit. That's fine. Let yourself release for a breath there. And then we'll rise the head back up. We're just going to switch. Bring the left leg in again. You can stretch your right leg long, especially if you have, sometimes if you have like some issue in your hip or your knee, you don't want to bend that knee, right? So take your time, hold behind your thigh, lean back a little bit, and as the foot comes up higher, the leg comes more parallel to the floor, really pull yourself forward. It's like you're pulling your left outer ribs towards your inner thigh. And then you can maybe reach down and get your foot. Take your time there. And again, you don't want to force anything. You can feel the foot wanting to come up higher, maybe coming into a straighter leg, bringing your gaze up so you find that full uplift here in the front of the body. Just enjoy. Doesn't matter whether your leg is straight or not. You're getting into the back of your leg, but also this is a lot of core work. You are using your core like crazy to be in this pose. And there's so much length in your spine. Almost think about the chest coming a little more forward. Now, if you can, take your right hand to the outside somewhere of that ankle or that foot and turn into that twist, bringing your hand either to the floor, or again, if you have the wall there, you can put your hand on the wall. Press that left foot a little, or leg a little into your hand, and let the hand resist. And there is your IT band. If you can keep that pressure a little bit, feel the outside of the leg engaging. Good. Now one more breath. And now we're going to come back into center. Go ahead and bend your knee again. Put your foot on the floor. And again, you can roll your head down. You can roll your chest down more if you want. Let yourself release a bit. And then we'll come on up and we're going to bring our feet onto the floor. Come into the inside of your legs and just balance right here for a breath. Now it's up to you if you want to let your legs come out a little bit to balance or not. You're more than welcome to do that. You can let yourself come on into that balance there or not. You can keep your knees bent too and balance there. Again, it's that same thing we just did in Harem, that you don't want to collapse in your chest. It's like your chest comes forward. There is that. Sometimes the bending of the knees makes that more possible. And then we're going to release, come down, bring your knees on inward. We're going to come back onto our backs on the floor right away. You can roll down. If you like rolling down, let yourself roll on down. If you prefer not to do that, don't. Once you get down, bring your knees on in. Let yourself come into a little Badakanasana if you can. Just separate the knees. Doesn't matter whether you get the soles of the feet together. And then bring your arms on above your head as you put your feet on the floor. And let your knees come from side to side. Let the arms just rest wherever's comfortable overhead. Elbows can be soft. You're just releasing the knees from side to side. Good. And now bring your arms down alongside you, right? And let's practice just a little bit of it. We wanted to come into fish pose, right? So you can leave your knees bent. Press into the backs of your arms. Think about coming to the back of the top of your head rather than the top of your head. And there is a chest lift. If you press into your arms, you can kind of help yourself. If you feel good to lengthen your legs long from there, you can. There is a back bend, right? I mean, if you go all the way to the top of your head in your fish pose, more power to you, right? Don't do anything that's uncomfortable for your neck. So, you might just be more on the back of your head with the chest lifting up, pressing into your arms. If you're a fish pose practitioner all the time and you like to do fish pose, go for it. Don't overdo. When you come down out of fish, and you don't have to, if you want to stay a little bit longer, do, but when you do, be really mindful of bringing a knee into the chest or both knees into your chest. So you counter however you need to. You can come into a little happy baby or just let yourself follow the inclination really of your body right now, what you need to do. You might want to do a little twist here. You just did those pretty intense seated Harem twists. So you might want to just let an easier twist happen. Do your favorite one or one that feels really good for you in your hips and your legs. Yes. Start to get light, and then for cover?
Please.
So too, if you need a blanket under your head as well as if you need for cover.
Thanks, Kitty.
There you go, you're tucked. Is that too much tuck?
Well, that's good. Thank you.
So if your feet are cold, I can cover them up. If you feel like you want cover or a blanket for your head, let me know. And just allow yourself to melt down. Nothing you need to do. As you accept your breaths easily in and out. If focusing on a mantra or counting your breaths helps you to return to your breath, just ease your way into finding those quiet places. Give yourself the gift of these few minutes and allow yourself to completely and fully relax. those deeper breaths, really coming all through your body, all the way out to the tips of your fingers and your toes, so you can feel like moving again with your extremities and moving up through your hands, your feet, maybe circling your wrists, your ankles if that feels good, and coming into your arms, your legs when you're ready. And moving the way you need, whether you need to stretch or bend. Just take your time, enjoy the ground a little longer if you can. You're welcome to stay on your back or to roll to either your right or your left side. If you're on your side and you don't have a blanket, you can always use your arm as a pillow. Just give yourself a little more time to adjust. Just so that when you do feel like you're okay to come up to sitting, it feels like the next natural thing to do. To start to get your head again up above your heart. But let your hips be comfortable in the way you're sitting, whether you need to grab a blanket or stretch your legs out or sit cross-legged. Just be mindful. Let your eyes stay closed, and if you need to shift around a little bit to get really easy in the way you're sitting, do. Let your hands come to rest comfortably wherever that might be for your shoulders. And on your next exhale, bring your hands to meet right there in front of your chest, feeling that connection there. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day.